Pleasant morning to you, present Monday morning. Welcome to the Monday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome one and all. Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're conscious of the fact that we have viewers, we have students from all over. So welcome to this Monday morning's episode, or Monday afternoon, depending on where you are. And as I've said, we people from all over. I welcome you. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. You know, in Guyana, it was a long weekend. Started on Friday, March Day, and then you had traditional Saturday and Sunday. So welcome. I hope if you went out and march on Friday, you're now recuperated and that you are prepared for a productive week. So welcome to this Monday's episode, one and all. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. This is the day that the Lord has made. We must rejoice and be glad in it. Share the life. I always tell you you have to share the life. And I want to tell you this morning as well that based on what some of our students have said, in addition to share the life, it was like the broadcast. Hit the like button. In that way, for Facebook and YouTube algorithms will go into work and more people are going to get the opportunity to come on and to look at us. But we are grateful for the type of turnout that we have been having over the days and over the weeks. I say unexpected number of persons have been joining this program, and people meet us all over to tell us how beneficial they have found the program. So don't be selfish. Share it to others so others can benefit from our experience. We have lots and lots of stuff to talk about this morning. I've had to select carefully the subjects that we're going to deal with now and to leave the others for another day. But as I said, we have lots and lots to talk about. And again, share. And I also would tell you that you should go to the YouTube, subscribe to the channel by the name of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. And if you are one of the Facebookers, you just do the same. Go to that and you like the page. And you're going to get all the information, all the notification when the program goes live or whenever we post a video. I know that many of you students who are regulars, you're here every day, you still have not liked the page. I can tell when I go into the page, when I go into the analytical part of the page, I can tell, I can see those who have not liked, those who have not subscribed. So I want to implore you to go to the Facebook, like the page, and I get notification that this person has liked the page, or go to YouTube and subscribe. We have lots to tell you this morning, and we're going to do the roll call, and after the roll call, we're going to go straight into the meat. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio. He's just waiting to get on and to give us the benefit of his knowledge. So roll call for us quickly. I'm going to try to sail through this roll call. The first man in this morning, Jakey, I got a prize for you, was Gavin. Gavin was in this morning. He came at 8:21. This is as soon as the program is scheduled. You know, the program goes on 12 o'clock, Guyana time, 11 o'clock, New York Standard Time. But we schedule around 8 or so. And from the time we schedule the program, people are in the schoolyard waiting to be for the doors to be open. Then we had Earl. He came in. He said, Monday, waiting for us to speak truth to power. Vibert out of Brooklyn or Manhattan, I think he is. At least he works there in the house. Joan came in and 8:25. Then we had my squad mate, BX. BX came in. BX, I got to contact you later, my friend. Then we have Debbie. We have John. Princess All from Lamar Springs is in the house. Emerson, he's in Midtown, Manhattan. Maureen came in. Lucius is here. Malcolm, I missed you in a few classes. Pauline is in the house as well. Doreen, my squad mate from Canada. Tessa from Florida. Courtney is here. Hold on. Courtney is here. Then we have Ulrich, my squad mate. He operates out of Barbados, and he's telling us happy 54th Republic anniversary, which was observed last Friday. Brian, Another Saul is here. Sean, don't ever miss a class. Is in class. Gaston, my squad mate, is very much in class. He is on Ottawa. Monica is here. Then who is next? After Monica, we had Kenneth came in from Maryland. Then we have my next squad mate, from Carlton, is from New York. Then Francis from Melanie Damashana. Lester is from Brooklyn and he's here. Wayne from the United Kingdom. When I go through these things to tell you, for you to see the wide cross section of people who come to view this program that they find so very educational. Brennan, New York man, is here. Joan in class. Magnell. Fergus, another man from the UK. Winston. Then we have Henrik. Clarence, a man from Canada next. Gordon is here. 6659 Old Police. Barled from Linden is in the house. Evangelina is here. She is from Caneville Grove, East Bank, Demerara. Rohan, a very good friend. He is operated out of the US. Ian from Queens is in the house. Then we have Tia Ben. What? Another Ben. This is another Ben. We got to find out the relationship to that Ben. Because we know we have T Ben. We have the other Ben comes in all the time. So we're going to see. Then we have Sandra, Glendis, Denise, Trotty is here, Patricia, Kerry, Terrence from California, Raul is in the house, Felicia, David, Leon is in class, Patricia is in the class, she's waiting, the struggle continues, Aluta continua. Then we have Easy, or Ezzy, whatever you call it, is here. Vibart, the man from the East Bank. Louis, the one and only Louis, is here. Ulrich, from across the river, I think Ulrich lives now, and he's selling us some information there, which I'll announce in a short while. Ulrich is here as well. K. Maury is in the house. Maury, nice seeing you the other day, man. Nice seeing you yesterday. It was not here. Karen is here. Rhonda. Jean. Then we have Barbara. Evelyn, or Evelyn, whatever it's pronounced. Godfrey is here. Anthony from the Peters Hall and the East Bank. Clifton, all the way from Paris, is in the house. Then we have Cranston. We have L. Ben. So we have two Bens. We have T. Ben. We have L. Ben. We're looking forward to R. Ben. Family Music is in the house. Tilula is here, and he's from New York. Desiree is in the house, and Desiree is from Georgia. Chilo is in the house. Orville is here. Pamela, West Side lady. Samuel. Devian. Then we have Chisel Chipper. I miss you, my brother. Then after Chisel Chipper is here, we have Everett from Texas. Clive, I know Clive is from the UK. Terence from Canada. Gloria is on the live. Then we have Malvoc 5, Old Police. Brower, Michael is in the house. Then who we have next? Grace came in next. Anthony, Rastaman. Then we have Trevor, Colin, and all of these people are before we went live, Colin from Queens. Then David is in the house. Melville came in. Joan is here. And after Joan, we have Orin. Orin too is from the UK. And he was the last man on YouTube before we went live. And as soon as we went live, we have Errol. Then we had Lynette from Barbados. We had Carlton Popo. You never miss Mario. And the list goes on and on. Derika. But as I've indicated, we have so much to talk about this morning that we got to get into it almost immediately. And to tell you again, we are unable to cross-stream on CAMS TV. I indicated, I think this is 2 weeks now. So tell people who are accustomed to watching us on CAMS TV, if you know them, to go to now, you have to come to the Speaking Out page, either on YouTube or Facebook. Camps TV, we have some problem. They've lost control of the Facebook page, so we are not able to cross-stream on them. But notwithstanding that, the numbers have not, that has not impacted the numbers on any given day in any significant way. So yeah, let me give you some quick announcements. We said much the other day. I mentioned, I think it was last week, we had the death of retired member Jennifer Lanford. Some information about our funeral. I understand that she will be buried on Friday. That's Friday coming March the 1st. The church service will be at St. Sidwell's Anglican Church from 11 a.m. Wake will be at our residence in Prashad Nagar on Thursday, beginning at 6 p.m. So that is the update with Jennifer Lanford. She worked in the commission office. You can remember her from there. She passed away last week, well, the week before Friday, I think. Yeah, week before Friday. And again, she's going to be buried Friday coming, February the 1st. Church service at St. Sidwell's at 11 a.m. St. Sidwell's Anglican Church from 11 a.m. And then wake will be at our residence Thursday night, Thursday the 29th from 6 p.m. And then we have I launched yesterday of the death of a former Inspector Oswald Innes. His regulation number was 8391. I saw Ulrich indicating that it was his squad mate. So I think he would be the squad mate of people like Ulrich, retired Deputy Commissioner Leon Trim, retired Commissioner Winston Felix, they are around that same, retired Assistant Commissioner Carl Roberts. They are in that same number area. So he passed away. He was stationed at Special Branch. We understand he was also the immigration officer at Lethem. So condolences to the relatives, friends, loved ones of those persons who are deceased. And I must announce, for those of us who are into music, or whether you're into music or not, yesterday it was announced that Peter Morgan from Morgan Heritage fame passed away yesterday. I'm not sure he passed in Jamaica. But those of you who like reggae music, man, the most popular, perhaps the most popular and prolific reggae band in recent times. You know, Peter, not Peter. Some people have been saying Peter, P-T-R. It's P-E-E-T-A-H. That is how his name is spelled. And Peter Morgan passed away. It was an old family man, Morgan Heritage. I think the father was Delroy Morgan from the 60s and 70s, rocksteady and reggae fame. And all his children came together, or most of his children are in that band. And they say Peter was the lead singer. He passed away yesterday. And condolences to those fans and the people, his relatives as well. I know I am a music. I listen to all genre of music, but I really love when I listen to reggae. I love Morgan Heritage, man. They get some beautiful songs. I always one of them. Outcome was one of my favorite. Right, and then for birthday, on a more happier note, a birthday today of a warrior. A warrior can describe her as nothing more than a warrior. I'm referring to Vanessa Kisoon, who is a teacher. I'm sure she's on the picket line today in Linden, but today is Vanessa's natal day as well. I want to wish her all the best on her birthday. And as they say, the struggle continues, my sister. And in terms of belated birthday, we missed one on Wednesday, I think it was. Retired woman assistant commissioner Paulette Morrison. Paulette celebrated a birthday recently. We also had a recent birthday of retired assistant commissioner of police Marlon Chapman. Chapo celebrated recently. And yesterday, another belated birthday, former inspector Ridley Angel celebrated his 70th birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to all those who celebrated recently. And I wish you all the best. I wish you health, strength, happiness, and I hope you live to see many, many more prosperous birthdays. And now to move on, we had the cricket, you know, Ulrich, India was able to prevail over baseball, over England and baseball yesterday. But you know, that wicket, you know, if it was other places that America was organized over the wicket. But from the first day, the wicket was turning from the first day. Some big cracks developed on the first day. But it was a good match. Lasted just over 3 days. It was a good match. And the spinners were at their best. But once you see spinner like Bashir from England doing well, when it comes to Jadeja and Ashwin, they're going to get problems because Jadeja and Ashwin are world-class spinners, where those other two from England are up and coming. But Ashwin and Jadeja have established themselves as some of the best spinners in the world. So yeah, we had a good game. And lots of DRS reviews, man. As you can expect, once the wicket turning, we can keep it low. I saw a shed of tear from Ben Stokes in the first innings. The ball pitched just on leg stump, and the ball already got off the tarmac. He got knocked in front. One of the first times you will see in modern cricket, a batsman hit LBW appeal go off, the man wait for the umpire decision. The man put the bat under his arm, sat and walk away, shook his head, and he walked away. And then in the second innings too, you get one that kept a little low, hit the bat and rattled the stump. So Ben had a terrible test match. So there's one more test to go in the series, and we'll see where that happens. And speaking about cricket too, on the local scene, that is in the Caribbean, we see the Eagles have finally been able to get a victory under the Irans. Let's see where they will go from there, because the first game, remember, was abandoned, and then they lost the second game to Leewards, and the beat was the other team yesterday. So yes, Ulrich, that's what's going on. And then of course we have the Pakistan League and all of those things to look at. So yeah. Well, let me bring him Mr. Conway, and so we can move on. CC, welcome.
Good morning. Happy to be in the land of the living. That was a wonderful cricket match, man. First day, I never see a pitch with so much of cracks, man. And then the Indians really expected it. Imagine they open the ball in Ashwin. So I can imagine spin from force over, man.
Yeah, spin and more spin. That reminds me of the old English team back in the 70s. They had Abid Ali and Solkarg and Okuman. After about 2 or 3 overs, it was Bedi, Chandrasekhar, and those men they're going to throw at you. The one who became umpire, what his name as well. Those were the spinners, Bedi, Chandrasekhar, and I can't remember his name right now, but he became an umpire and was a very good umpire.
Yeah, I remember in Trinidad, the first ball Roy Frederick's face was a shooter, man.
Yeah, first ball he faced from Abid Ali. First ball in the test match is shot below his bat, bowled down, or LBW, something like that. I remember that very, very well. Yeah, so yeah, let's move on, CC. Let's move on. We have, as I said, we have a lot to talk about this morning, and I'm going to start with the teachers' strike. The teachers are still on strike, and I wish to said that we are in full support of those teachers who are on strike. We are in full support. But there was an interesting development in that matter over on Thursday. The teachers went on strike. They're into what? Their 4th week now, I think. The 3rd week, sorry. They're into the 3rd week. And the government had announced that they were not going to pay those teachers who are out on strike, and they were going to stop deducting union dues on behalf of the Guyana Teachers Union. And, it is clear, once those actions are taken, they don't want to come to no compromise. It's a bullying attitude. Bullying. So put the teachers under pressure. If you're on strike, you're not going to be paid. And put the union under pressure. We are not going to deduct union dues on your behalf. But I know that the teachers had made alternative arrangement for the union dues. They were talking about the money, MMG, and other means of paying the monthly dues to the union. And so they went to court. The teachers went to court to challenge the decision of the government to withhold salaries for those days that they were not working and to stop the deduction of union dues. And they were victorious on Thursday. The matter came on before Justice Kisoon. And let me tell you some of the things that transpired. It says here that and I got a lot to read, so I'm going to read some to you, the excerpts of what transpired. So when the matter was called, Attorney General Alain Nandalal SC opened by stating reasons why the respondent, that is the government, whom he is representing should be given more time. According to him, the application by the GTU, that is the Ghana Teachers Union, arrived at his office on Friday the 16th, and the registry usually requires a period of 14 days to schedule a hearing. So what happened there? Let me explain to you. Once the matter, the matter was filed by the Teachers Union, you have to serve the documents on them, and then they have to give them an opportunity to respond. So when they went to court, the Attorney General, who represents the government, argument was that, look, we need more time to file a defense in this matter. Now, once he did that, the thing is that he made a lot of arguments. He made a lot of arguments to support his case, why the extension should have been given. And when he finished all his arguments, and I know I have been in court in recent times a lot with the Attorney General, and I know he can talk until the cows come home. He like talk, so he can talk now. So apparently he did that. And when he was finished, in that opening salvo, in his turn, Attorney Darren Wade, who was representing the Teachers Union, stated that the Teachers Union had no issue with the court granting an additional time. He said, look, we don't have a problem with the court granting additional time. However, he appealed to the judge for the government's move to deduct salaries from the striking teachers and its refusal to deduct union dues on behalf of the Teachers Union to be placed on hold pending the outcome of the matter, which is a normal thing. A normal thing. You have a matter before the court challenging a particular decision. It is normal for the judges to say, well, look, let the status quo remain. In other words, don't implement what decision is being challenged until such time that this matter is ventilated. Then what happened then? At this point, where the paper is reporting, this is, I think it's Southern News. At this point, what was supposed to be a short court appearance turned into approximately 2 hours, as Nandalal argued vociferously against this move, contending that the court should not stop the government from implementing its no work, no pay policy. So once Wade made the argument, we don't mind giving an extension, but the court should let the government know that you cannot or you should not deduct the salaries of the teachers, and you should not fail to remit the thing. So Nandala got into a long argument according to them. They say an argument argued vociferously against the move. And then it go on, the next excerpt of the article says, the argument by the People's Progressive Party, PPP, member of parliament, failed to sway Justice Kisoon, as he pointed out that the status quo has been in place or been in existence since April 1990 and must be adhered to. That is the status quo in respect to salaries, in respect to deduction, must be adhered to. The judge further pointed out to the AG that the findings presented are better reserved for the substantive matter, which was not ongoing at the time. In other words, what happened? He made a lot of arguments. He bring a lot of case law as the Attorney General to say why this order should not be granted to stay or to prevent the government from deducting salaries, to say that the government must continue to deduct union dues. He used a lot of argument, case laws, and precedents and all that. What the judge essentially said is that, look, all of these arguments you are bringing here, keep it for when the real matter, the substantive matter starts, and make the argument there. This hearing today is not to deal with that. So the judge told him that. Furthermore, Justice Kisoon pointed out that the application made by the union had not yet been examined by the court, and it would be unfair to allow the government to go ahead with the deduction without first giving an ear to the Ghana Teachers Union's argument. Again, natural justice. Natural justice. The teachers have applied to the court for a particular order, which is that the government should not stop the pay of those who are on strike, and also the government should continue to deduct salary remitted to the union. And basically, the judge is saying the merits of that has not been argued. So how do you allow the government to take the action and without listening to what the people have to argue. And they think, then I say, in another move to convince the judge, Nandalal argued that the relationship between the teachers and the government are like that of an employer and an employee. And therefore, such a relationship is private. He further promised, listen to this carefully, he further promised that should the court rule in favor of the deductions being made for the teachers' salaries, once it has, let me read that, once it has been found at the end of the court's case that the government was in the wrong, those salaries would be refunded expeditiously. In other words, he said, allow us to take out the salaries. And if it is that the teachers win, we are going to give them back the salaries. But here the judge countered to that. In response to this, the judge asked Nandalal why the government should go ahead, should go to the length, why the government should go to the length of deducting the salaries when the matter is before the court, and then have to go to the trouble of reimbursing the teachers afterwards. The Attorney General in this turn appealed for the court order that the teachers call off the strike and return to the classroom. So he's appealing to the court for them to order the teachers to call off the strike and to return to the classroom. And the judge said that. The judge told him, well, that was out of his jurisdiction. He was not dealing with that. He can't deal with that matter. And I say further that during the back and forth between the judge and the Attorney General, the question was posed by the judge on whether or not he should bring forward the matter so that a decision could be made quickly. Wade had no objection to this, but Nandalal continued to push for the overriding of the status quo. In other words, just say, look, seeing that you have all this reservation, do you want me to bring forward the matter? Nandalal, Wade want the matter to come forward. Wade is the attorney representing the teachers union, but Nandalal, you want the matter to come forward. Right? He wants the status quo to be preserved. That is, that the government should be allowed to take out the salaries thing. And then the last part of it says here, the judge then ordered that the status quo remain until the matter is determined. The judge also said that the government cannot stop deducting dues from teachers' salaries on behalf of the union until the airing of the substantive matter of the substantive case. So that is in a nutshell what transpired. So again, kudos to the teachers. They have prevailed, and therefore it simply means that the teachers who are on strike, government cannot deduct pay from them, and the government has to continue to deduct the union dues on behalf of the Guided Teachers Union. I have a little bit more to say, but let me bring in Mr. Conway at this time. CC, I'm sure that you would have seen that decision, you would have read about it. So what are your views, my brother?
Well, Nandala was true to form, Just in our case, a last minute delay. He's come at the last minute and then make certain submissions. So that caused the case to be late. It happened several times with a matter. So I'm not surprised, And even if the judge say, hey, let's bring forward the matter, he said, no, you want to bring forward. You believe in delay. But the thing is that the teachers have got to make sure that they stick to their guns, and that they make sure that, hey, that unless the government come together and sit down and they have crucial conversations, that they eyeball one another, it wouldn't work. They got to sit down and converse. They have to get discussions. In the absence of that, let the strike continue.
In the absence of that, let the strike continue. And some students are reminding me that the strike is in its fourth week. I wasn't sure whether it's fourth or third, but some of the students said the strike is in its fourth week. Well, let me say this, CC. The order has been made by the court. Justice Kisoon made the order on Thursday. When these orders are made, there's a process. You have to enter and serve and all these other things. So the thing. The question is, and I'm showing you a very serious question, whether the government is going to abide by the order of the court. Let me ask this again. The judge made an order that the status quo must remain. That is to say, the government should continue to pay the striking teachers and that they should continue to deduct union dues on behalf of the Guyana Teachers Union. I am asking the question whether or not the government will abide or obey those orders. And the reason why I am doing so, because in recent times, the government has flouted orders from the court. Let me cite two. Let me remind you of two. There is the case of the retired officer, Courtney Ramsey. Courtney Ramsey was denied promotion. The politics work. He was recommended for promotion by the police force. He went to the Police Service Commission. The information is that the Police Service Commission, that is the commission before us, and we were there 2018, 2021, so the commission before, someone the commission before, I'm not sure which one is the one immediately before. But I understand that he was promoted. But when it went to a certain place or certain places thereafter, his name was removed and another name was put in. That is what it is. Courtney Ramsey challenged it in the High Court. Challenge. And when the time came for evidence to be produced, they were unable to convince the court of any justification for why Ramsey was not promoted. They attempted to say, or they said, that one of the reasons, or the main reason Ramsey was not promoted is because Ramsey was close to retirement. You hear what they're saying? Ramsey was close to retirement, so therefore he could not have been promoted to assistant commissioner. Ramsey, very good old police detective and so on for years, did his research and found that there were at least two senior superintendents in the past who were on pre-retirement leave at the time when they were promoted to assistant commissioner. So that argument by the state Attorney General's chamber couldn't hold water. At which stage the Attorney General chambers chuck in. In other words, they give up and they say, well, look, they're gonna concede the matter. And that is some years ago, sometime around 2021, 22, something like that. And an arrangement was made for Ramsey to be paid whatever money was owed to him. And on today, like today, this is February 2024, the government has not paid Ramsey the monies ordered by the court. They have not. The only good thing in Ramsey's part is that I think the order says, speaks about interest to be paid until such time that the Ramsey is paid. So there's one. So I ask that question, whether the government is going to comply with the order of the court made on Thursday last by Justice Kissoud. And there's another case as well. Refer here to the Guyana postal and telecommunication workers, those retired workers, who took the government to court because in relation to the correct pensions, they won the case. An order was made that the people should be paid the correct pension. That order was made, I have a note here, that order was made since in March 2021, almost 3 years now. And those pensioners have not been paid. Again, I'm talking about the Guyana Postal and Telecommunication Workers Union. They had a matter about the correct calculation of their pensions, and the matter was taken to court. The judge ruled in favor of those persons in March 2021. And my information, as a matter of fact, I confirmed yesterday that up to day like today, those persons have not received the adjusted pension. So that is what has prompted me to ask whether the government is going to abide or carry out the order of the court and pay the teachers who are on strike, and also deduct the union dues on behalf of the Guyana Teachers Union. See, I'm sure you remember those cases, those two cases I talked about.
Yeah, I know them very well. For the matter, Ramsey is my squaddy, so we discuss. But the thing is, Paul, that there are several other cases where the government not paying, they're not paying, they're not obeying the court orders. And it's time for some judges get serious, and started to cite people for contempt of court. And we needed to have serious judges. I remember years ago, they had a certain law, a senior counsel, I wouldn't call his name, but he they had Keith Messiah as a judge. And we used to say that lawyer was very mannish. And he carries mannishness to Keith Messiah in the High Court. And Messiah said immediately, look, counsel, I'm citing you for contempt of court. Orderly, take charge of him as a morning time. Said this matter has been put down for 1 o'clock. And counsel, if you're not well represented at 1 o'clock, the jars of the Georgetown prison is going to open up and swallow you. At 1 o'clock, he had, among other lawyers, 2 senior counsel represented him. It's time that some judges get serious, and cite persons for contempt of court. I remember a very funny one in the States where a defendant went into court wearing a tennis shoe. And the judge said, you're in the wrong court. And he cited him for contempt of court until the rising of the court, And then again, too, and Nanlal, Attorney General, when some opposition MP lost a case and the judge awarded damages, he said that if they don't pay, the government should start a levy on the property so that they get the money. But here's it, where on the other hand, other person won the case, costs and other things awarded, and the government not paying up. But when the opposition persons lost their case, Nanlal saying that the government should levy on their property. Animal farm at work.
Animal farm at work indeed. Animal farm at work indeed. Well, let me tell you, we have to support the teachers. The cause is just, we have to support the teachers. And let me tell you how we can support them. Let me put up a slide and you will see it. Look at here. This is a slide that indicates the banking information for the teachers. So those of you who are interested in supporting the teachers, you have the teachers' banking information there. You can see it. Name of the account, Guyana Teachers Union. The full address, Woolford Avenue, Georgetown, Guyana. Name of receiving bank, Republic Bank, Guyana Limited. The address of the bank is 3040 Water Street, Georgetown, Guyana. And the GTU account number is listed there. And then you have the SWIFT code for the GTU is listed there. Then the intermediary bank is the Bank of America. And the SWIFT code for the Bank of America and their address are both listed. So those of you who want to assist the teachers and to make a contribution to their efforts, you can do so in a tangible way. You can do so in a tangible way. I'm going to put it up again at some time, but that is the information that you have there for those of you who are in a position to support the teachers financially. I know they have been getting support with people who are joining, parents and others who are joining them on the picketing line, but you also make sure for those of you who are abroad and cannot cannot go there to give that type of support, maybe you can make a financial contribution to the teachers to keep them on the picket line until such time that the government decide to sit down and to have dialogue with the teachers and to listen to what their concerns are. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and interestingly, you might not know, but let me tell you this here now. This morning, my information, this morning, the cane harvesters, the cane cutters at Albion went on strike, making demand for more money this morning. They are representing the cane cutters by Guyana Agricultural Workers Union, which is a union closely aligned to the PDP. So let's see how they will treat that. And I want to bet, I am not a Uber man, I am not a CFAR man, but I want to bet that matter is going to be resolved and be resolved very quickly in favor of the workers. And Mr. Conway talked about animal farm a while ago. It is going to be resolved in favor of the workers, and it's going to be resolved very expeditiously. CC, what do you say?
I agree with you. You might not be a betting man, but I know that There are times you have a crystal ball, Perhaps you look into the crystal ball.
Have a crystal ball. All right, moving on. Moving on. Folks, I want you to strap in. Strap in. The light one, I see you making comments and so on. Denise and others. Samuel, strap in. Listen to what I am about to tell you. Listen carefully. I know you always listen, but I'm urging you to listen even more carefully because this is going to be an exam question. This is going to be, when you go to university, you go to school, some of the lecturers will tell you, this is likely, they'll tell you what it is, but this is likely to be an exam question. So everybody, it catches everybody's attention. So, we're listening. Now, this is one that even for a man like me and CC and all of us, find to be very, very, what was it? Unbelievable. And if back in the day, there was an officer, Squatty Duncan, would have put in the adjective, so believable. Now listen to this carefully. Let me find the notes. So I don't want to, have it here. A businessman in a particular area made a complaint against the commander, the police commander of that area. And here, some of the things that the businessman complained about. In this complaint, he wrote to the Minister of Overfairs, Robeson Ben. And the letter is copied to the man who sits in the commissioner chair, better known as the extended squatter. He also copied it to Brutus, who is the man who sits at admin there, and the man Budram, the man who sits at operation. So the man is making a complaint and saying that the commander has been writing to several businessmen in the area, in this community where he resides, soliciting large contributions. For example, one of the things he said, 4th anniversary, he's begging for money for buy tracksuits for the march past of the police sports, which was held in July last year. So he writing the businessman. He said in August, this commander wrote again to the business community asking for a contribution of $500,000 because he wanted to buy chairs, projectors, and tent. I don't know if it's $500,000 from each individual or a total of. That did not say. Then it goes on to say, and in October last year again, he wrote again, this time he wanted contributions for a barbecue. So the man said the disgust of him. He traveled, that is a complaint, the man was making a complaint, he said he traveled to town, and on his return, his wife, he runs a shop or something like that, his wife told him that a sergeant from the area left a letter for him. The man said, I never opened the letter because I knew it had to be another letter to beg, a disgust with this man, a disgust. So he decided to write Robeson Ben, the Minister of Affairs, and make this complaint. Copy to the extended squatter and those two officers. And here, what is unbelievable according to Squatty. The extended squatter, I don't talk about this thing unless I get evidence, The extended squatter sent the letter of complaint to the same commander for necessary action. Listen to this. This man write to complain about a commander in a particular area. And the extended squatter who sits in the commissioner's chair send the letter to the same commander, FNA, meaning for him to take the necessary action. FNA means for necessary action. Look, when I saw this thing, I said, I can't believe this thing. But the man has his signature. The extended squatter initial is on the thing. His initial is on this document. Again, it's unbelievable. And we talk about incompetence, corruption, incompetence on this program. There's a theme of this program. And if that is not corruption or this incompetence, one or the other or both, I don't know what is. A complaint is made against the commander, and you are going to send the complaint to the same commander for necessary action, meaning for investigation. What madness is this? What madness is this? And that is the man who sits in the chair. That is the man who sits in the chair. As a Taro would say, Dan is the man in the van. That is the man. But let me bring in Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway has a way with words, and perhaps he can explain what happened there. I can't. So Mr. Conway might be able to help me. CC, help me out here, man. Help your brother. Help
Well,
your brother.
if I may interpret the FNA for necessary action, I mean that you gotta continue the action. That's what he's saying about continue to write and beg for money. But you see, that's what happens when you have an extended squatter, and then you indemnizing the divisions with corrupt and incompetent officers. With corrupt and incompetent officers. So that is what's gonna happen. And it will continue to happen. But I couldn't believe it. I saw a copy of the letter myself too. That the extended squatter gonna write FNA and sign his name to it. So it gone right back to the command instead of ordering a proper investigation by somebody who is superior in rank to the commander. And you have Budram there who is responsible for the division, and you have the other one there who responsible for admin. Some one of them could have taken it out, but that's how the police force going. That's where we sinking to.
Well, is that sinking? Well, yeah, maybe we continue going. Yeah, my dear, I couldn't believe it. When I saw it, I couldn't believe. I had to do my research to confirm first the authenticity of the letter and the authenticity of the initial of the person who sits there and send it. You can't look again. I say it is difficult to understand. Difficult. I was in conversation over the weekend with some ex-police senior people and people at different levels, and this matter came up. And the people telling me, Mr. Slow, you lie. They say, Mr. Slow, you lie in a very not an offensive way. They said so because they said, look, we know that you do your research, and we know that you will not make such a statement unless the evidence is there. I'm telling you, the evidence is there. I have it. And this is not an isolated thing when we talk about corruption, because remember we told you about one of those senior people at police headquarters who deposited $16.5 million Ghanaian currency at one time, 2 paper bag into his police credit union account. 16.5 million Ghanaian dollars. Now, where would he get that money from? Where would a police officer, if it's not part of corruption? And the mere depositing of that money into that account speaks to a question of money laundering. And I'm saying it's an allegation of money laundering, but it's not an allegation about the deposit. And you want to tell me that should not trigger a proper investigation? You want to tell me a police officer, senior police officer, deposits 16.5 million US dollars into the account and gave a notation at the time that 15 million should go to his savings account and 1.5 million dollars should go to an interest to repay an interest on a loan that he never had. He has not had any loan at this place. That to me is money laundering, and that to me should trigger a proper investigation by the Financial Intelligence Unit, perhaps even the Integrity Commission. So, but nothing is happening. So here you have this commander who is soliciting large sums of money from business people in the area. And the man went on in the letter to say, look, I'm a small businessman, and this man don't ask for those small money. The man said, I give a business to maintain, I got a family to maintain. And when the commander, within a few months, asked for money for buy tracksuit, asked for $500,000 to buy 10-ton projector, asked for money to assist with barbecue, where is he going to find this money from to make this contribution to the police and then maintain his family and his business? That is, I say US dollars, no, 16, let me go back. Somebody said, say US dollar. 16.5 million Guyana dollars is what was deposited. And more, to compound the matter, the ranks who were there at the time, and perhaps, I should say rejected might be too strong a word, advised might be a better word, that look, this thing can't go down so, as we say in Guyana. The ranks were summarily removed, transferred out of the area. Because they advised, based on their experience and knowledge of the system, that we cannot accept $16.5 million from one depositor under these circumstances. The man transferred them out of the branch, put people, obviously now, he's going to put people who are going to be more compliant, regardless of what rule and regulation and law they have. They're gonna obviously that is what he is looking for, and that is what we have. That is what we have. And again, where would this money come from? Where would this money, $16.5 million, $16.5 million to be deposited in the thing? I remember I was a member of the police credit union, because when you join the force in my days, it is almost compulsory that you join the police credit union and you join the police consumers co-op. You just bulk at the time because your salary is so small, you don't want to make any contribution. But it turned out I recognized that it was a good thing, because when my I know when my father passed in the time 1978, I joined in 74. I had to go to the credit union to get a loan for assist with funeral expenses. So you recognize it was a good thing. And what I did over the years, when there was an increase in salary, I will go and I will authorize increased deductions. So around 2009, at the time, this man, Samuel Thomas, retired officer, he was the manager at the police credit union, and I think it was the anniversary of the credit union. And they had this radio program, and I was listening to it. I was going to work in the morning, and I was listening to it, and I heard Samuel Thomas telling them that they are the highest contributor in the credit union, and I think some almost $2 million, which was big money in them time, $2 million in savings. So I was anxious to know who that person was. So I drove from, instead of going to work, I drove straight to the police consumers to find out from Samuel who was that person. I want to go and he smiled and he said, look, he said, Mr. Slow, you is the person. I said, thank you, Father, thank you. The savings that I had over the years accumulated. And I remember that shortly after I retired in 2010, I don't know what year, they paid dividend. They called me to say the dividend was payable, and I got a check. I can't remember for how much money. But I want to know when last the consumers paid dividend. The credit union rather paid dividend to its members. I want to know when last they paid dividend. See, this thing with this man, as I said, the thing. Well, let me hear your views, my brother.
The 16.5, and then 1.5 for interest. I was told that the guy applied for a loan of over $100 million. So the 1.5 there was really, really large to service the loan. He didn't had a loan then, but he later applied for a loan, but I don't think anything went on. But then getting back to and then even the police credit union got $16.5 million cash. I think there will be some worries. They got all that explanation. If they go to the bank to cash to deposit that money, they will be asked a whole lot of questions there, and they can't say a man said there's a gift that he had before, during, after some activity, So, and then and they call the name of the location of the commando. That commando, I don't understand it. And then the extended squatter is going to send back the correspondence for necessary action. Something is radically wrong there. Total. I see total corruption and all kind of thing. Incompetence and corruption playing out at its best there, Paul.
Corruption, perhaps even more than corruption, criminality. Because if it amounts to money laundering, if an investigation is done and it amounts to money laundering based on the definition, then it's not only corruption, it's criminal. And nothing, as far as I'm aware, nothing is being done. Nothing. And I will continue to talk about it, and I will continue to expose it. Because you cannot have people with that type of, at least allegation, it's an allegation, against them, and you do not conduct a credible investigation to clear them. And they should be interested in a proper investigation. Because if I had an allegation like that, it was never been made, but just in case there was such an allegation made, I want the opportunity to clear my name. I have matters before the court, and I am anxiously awaiting to clear my name. I am anxiously awaiting my name to be cleared. Well, let me move on. Let me move on. I tell you, we got enough things to talk about today. I'm sure we're not going to be able to go through all of them, but there are some important ones. Like this one, for example. If you recall, sometime late last year, a policewoman was struck and killed in front of the BV police station. We all remember that. We spoke about it on this program, and it was the lady, I think it was Abel or was her name. She was struck, she was killed. The story is they had a roadblock, what they call a roadblock, in front of the police station, BV on the east coast of Demerara in Guyana. And this driver who was proceeding west blew through some traffic light, ran into the police, severed a leg. The policewoman, I saw that picture the night, policewoman lying there with one leg completely severed. Two other policewomen were injured. And of course, you're hearing nothing more about those two policemen who were injured. One was in the ICU. I don't know what has happened since. But I made a big noise that the driver who was under the influence of alcohol would be charged for motor manslaughter, the first motor manslaughter case in Guyana. That's what I said. He was going to be charged. Fitzroy Adams of 36 East Ronville Housing Scheme, Georgetown. He appeared before the magistrate at Sparndam Magistrate Court, where he was charged with motor manslaughter. That was in November last year. Motor manslaughter. And we said on this program, because the law in relation to motor manslaughter said that if you are under the influence of alcohol or drug to such an extent, and it was an amendment to the Motor Vehicle of Road Traffic Act. I think the amendment was made in 2022. And it says that if you were under the influence of alcohol to such an extent, when you cause an accident which resulted in death, instead of the usual causing death for dangerous driving, you are going to be charged with motor manslaughter. That is what it says, right? The people, they're correcting me, Joseph Fitzroy, all that. Right? Thanks for the correction, Denise, because the paper misleading me. I did the thing here and they're saying Adams. I almost thought you're correct because I remember the name, all that. Anyhow, so the charge is more for motor manslaughter. And we said on this program that to charge for motor manslaughter, one of the critical elements, you have to prove that the person was under the influence of alcohol or drug to such an extent, this is at the time of the accident, to such an extent as to be incapable of controlling the vehicle. Critical. If you can't prove that, the case gone overboard. And we further said that if you are only going to administer the usual breathalyzer test, that is going to be challenged and you cannot get any conviction. None. Because to get the breathalyzer test admitted in any court, you have to go through a long process. It's not only the police going to say, will I tell the man blue and the thing register above the legal limit. You have to prove that the instrument that was being used was calibrated. It calls for a whole set of a long process before that is admitted as evidence in court. And we said that they were going to fail to do that because we noted that almost in all of the previous cases where persons are charged for being under the influence of alcohol after getting involved in a fatal accident, they walk. Because, and people blaming the system, people blaming the magistrate, it is the fact that the police are incapable of giving the evidence in such a way as to sustain or to obtain a conviction. They can't. They can't. So I gave you that background to tell you, hold on, don't go too far, to tell you that I read, I think it was yesterday or sometime, that, well, let me look for the notes. Let me bring you Mr. Conway to comment on that part. See, let me hear you about this motor manslaughter, charge that they talk about, and the law in relation to it. Let me hear you.
As you rightly mentioned, it's the amendment, Motor Vehicle Road Traffic Amendment Act 2022, and it came into being on the 15th of November in 2022. And here is Section 3 says, the principal act is amended by inserting immediately after Section 35 the following new sections. 35A1. A person who causes the death of another person by the driving of a motor vehicle on the road or other public place while under the influence of drink or drug to such an extent as to be incapable of having proper control of the vehicle shall be guilty of motor manslaughter and shall be liable on conviction to an indictment to a term of imprisonment not less than 10 years. And let me read 2:2. Any person who causes grievous bodily harm to another person by the driving of a motor vehicle on the road or other public place while under the influence of drink or drug to such an extent as to be incapable of having proper control of the vehicle shall be liable on conviction and indictment to a term of imprisonment for not less than 5 years. So the law has been amended. But the thing is that you have to prove that the person was under the influence of drinks or drugs and being incapable of driving. And according to the Act 2 is that persons who are going to administer got to be approved by the minister. And even the equipment and all has to be approved by the minister. You mentioned it got to be collaborated. So I don't know, they perhaps they rush with breakneck speed and then decide now here that maybe they discover that they don't have enough evidence to really convict this person to be under the influence of drink or drug, and to some extent be incapable of having proper control of the vehicle. So maybe I understand they bring up a new charge, but at least to warn them that they can't withdraw the charge. What they have to do is to put on that case, sign a die, and then introduce the new charge. Because if you don't do that, the person going to plead, I think it's actually first acquitted. I was acquitted, it really don't matter, and the law of double jeopardy will come into place there. So it's a very, very strange one. They know that they understand that they have instituted a new charge. Perhaps they realize that they don't have the evidence. I can remember years, I think it was 1974, I found a man driving under the influence of drinks, and he could hardly walk. And I took him to the doctor, and it was the doctor's friend. And the doctor wrote, under the influence of drinks, of alcohol, but capable of driving. Under the influence of alcohol, but capable of driving. So how can I think this play out, Paul?
Yeah, but you gave them the end state of the case is that what we were building up. I read over the weekend. I was looking for it. I did some way. I misplaced the note. Somewhere I wanted to read that to you. Somewhere of the weekend, where this man, they have withdrawn, or they have he's no longer charged for motor manslaughter. That is the bottom line. He's no longer charged for motor manslaughter. They charge him now for the usual causing death by dangerous driving. They charge him for causing death by dangerous. And perhaps they listen to us, because we were saying all along that you cannot, under those circumstances, convict anyone for motor manslaughter. Because to do so, you first have to prove that the person was under the influence of drinks or drugs to such an extent as to be incapable of controlling his vehicle when this accident occurred. And we said that you can't only rely on a breathalyzer. There are provisions in the law for a breath analysis to be done. We explained in detail the difference between a breath test and a breath analysis. And if I remember correctly, I said the breath test is done by any policeman in uniform. This is what they do on the road. Do the breath test. But if you want to do a breath analysis, according to the law, the amended Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, you have to have special instruments, and the person conducting the breath analysis have to be gazetted. Similar to how you gazette a certifying officer, the person conducting a breath analysis have to be gazetted. We ask the question then, do they have breath analysis machines? Because I maintain that you are not going to be able to convict anyone for motor manslaughter solely on the evidence of the breath test, where you tell him, blow into the thing. Because even that, as we explained, for that to be admitted in court, you have to have, the court is not going to take judicial notice that this thing is functional. You have to give the evidence, and the evidence can be a class evidence to say all of these breath analysis machine, the breathalyzers. You have to speak about this particular one that was used. So the question is, do they go to secure the evidence? You have an accident, a person dies, and in the case of this policewoman, you administer the test, breath test. What did you do to secure this evidence to ensure nexus and all of that? This thing is not an easy thing, and you have these jokers sit there, and they're not training the people, they're not putting SOPs in place to deal with that. Because I would expect that once the machine is used and you get a reading, you have to secure the evidence. And then the question of nexus will come into play. What did you do with the evidence and right all through until it is presented in court? You have to satisfy a court of law that this evidence was properly taken care of, properly preserved, and presented to the court. I made the point too that the police can give evidence as to the calibration of the breathalyzer machine. No way, he's not qualified to do so. You have to get some technical person who calibrated it to come and be deemed an expert, to be deemed an expert in the first place in court, and to give the evidence. So it's an old process that requires careful study. They have to do the SOP to deal with it. When I was there at the operations, along with Semple, who was the traffic chief, and other people, we created a SOP. When we were at the standing order review team, Mr. Conway will remember that. There's one of the new standing orders we created, how to use the breath analysis, and I think we created that for them. Even though they said we didn't do no work, that was created. But having created it, you have to train the policemen how to administer it. And if it is challenged in court, how the evidence is to be given, that requires training. And I don't think they have the training to do that. I don't even believe they have the people in the system who can train them to do that. It might require outside assistance. So that is what you have in this case. Big Nice, policewoman, struck and killed while on duty at a roadblock in November last year. Big Nice, charge of motor manslaughter. Big Nice, charge of motor manslaughter. And then quietly, you either arrest the one on cyanide or you withdraw it, and you now institute a regular causing death by dangerous driving. That is what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about. People are there, incompetent people are there, and this is what is happening. Incompetent people are there, and this is what's happening. Cici, do you want to say anything more about this before we move on to another subject?
Yeah, man, I like to talk about the law, and let me tell you the definition for breath analysis. Breath analysis, and this is section 39G of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, chapter 5102. Breath analysis means the quantitative measuring of the proportion of alcohol in a person's breath, carried out by means of a device approved for this purpose by the minister. So telling you that the device has got to be approved by the minister. And here talk about breath test. Breath test means a test for the purpose of obtaining an indication of the proportion of alcohol in the person's breath, carried out by means of a device of a type approved for the purpose of such a test by the minister on a specimen of breath provided by such person. So the thing is that these things got to be approved by the minister. And as you mentioned, and I can remember when those instruments first came into being, we had rushed to the police had gone to the Guyana National Bureau of Standards, and they had the equipment to calibrate those things. They sent some of them, and there's some speed guns to radar guns to Trinidad for them to do the calibrating. I know if they have the equipment right now. But coming back to the point, Paul, if they withdraw the case, they're in problem. They need to put it on cyanide. You withdraw, the law of double jeopardy is going to come into play. Persons are actually forced to quit, and things that did. So they need to put that one cyanide, and cyanide means pending legal advice. and then after that you proceed with this new one, and at the end of it, that would be the situation. But the thing is that portions got to be approved by the minister, and the equipment also got to be approved by the minister.
Right, I agree. If you put it down saying that, I basically put it down indefinitely. Indefinitely, you can it's just the rest in it indefinitely. And the question is asked about the 16.58. John asked the question, how was the money returned? John, it was returned in cash the same way it was sent. It was returned in cash in 2 black plastic bags. One of the same plastic bag perhaps they're going to use. They're going to use to put the illegal gun in and throw it over the fence as directed or suggested by the Minister of Home Affairs. The money was returned in 2 black plastic bags. Them Jamaicans just call them scandal bag, right? 2 black plastic bags. Now, and that is what we have. Well, let me tell you, let me move on. I got to touch on this one today, and then others might come up at some other time. I'm referring to a recent matter involving the decision of the Chief Justice in the Winston Jordan case. Winston Jordan, the former finance minister. If you recall, let me give you a quick synopsis. Winston Jordan was charged with misconduct in public office under common law. And the facts is that the facts are that while he was minister, he vested some transport to BK for this mud flat place there, and they say he think was sold to BK way undervalued, and that the minister was responsible. So they charged him for misconduct in public office. Now, when the matter came up at the preliminary inquiry, a PI, remember, preliminary inquiry is held by a magistrate to determine if there is sufficient evidence for this matter to go to a judge and jury trial. That's basically what a preliminary inquiry is. When the matter came up at the preliminary inquiry, the magistrate conducting the preliminary inquiry dismissed the case or discharged or based on, let me put it correctly. When the state presented this case, state as represented by the DPP presented this case, and no case submission was made by the lawyers representing Mr. Jordan. Part of the thing that they claim is that the law says that you have to be a public officer, and they argued that Mr. Jordan, being a minister, was not a public officer. Well, let me call an argument about that. And the case, some previous case at rule, I think it was in the Ashley case, someone whose case, that the minister is a public officer. And they had the argument, but the magistrate upheld the no case submission, and the matter did not proceed any further. Now recall that in the Marcus Bisram case, we had a similar case where Marcus Bisram, if you remember, was charged with murder. This is a matter on the quarantine, and the magistrate discharged the matter based on no case submissions. The director of public prosecutions, the same director we have now, Shalimar Ali Haq, instructed the magistrate to open the case and to commit Bisram to stand trial at the High Court, because the Criminal Law Offences Procedure Act, as it then stood, allowed the DPP to do that. The DPP had the power to instruct a magistrate. If the magistrate did a preliminary inquiry and found that there was no evidence to commit the person to stand trial before the High Court, the DPP had the power under the Act at that time, I think 166 or something like that, or 66, I'm not sure, to instruct the magistrate to reopen the case and to commit the defendant or the accused person to stand trial in the High Court. Now that matter was challenged all the way up to the CCJ. And the CCJ ruled that that law, which permitted the DPP to do that, was unconstitutional. It violated the separation of powers. Now here you have the DPP instructing magistrate that they must do a certain act. And what the CCJ did, they recommended that that law, the Criminal Law Offences Procedure Act, should be amended. Now that amendment took place sometime last year, 2023, it was amended. And it now says that if a preliminary inquiry is completed, as in the case of Jordan, and the matter is discharged, as in the case of Jordan, the DPP can no longer instruct a magistrate to open the case and to commit the person to stand trial in the High Court. If the DP is dissatisfied with the ruling, the DPP has to approach the High Court. A judge in the High Court has to give those instructions. That is background, quick background. I give you the synopsis. So this matter, having been discharged in the case of Mr. Jordan, the DPP moved to the High Court seeking an order from the court to have Mr. Jordan arrested and committed to stand trial with the same misconduct in public office case. That is the background I'm giving you there. So that is what happened on Thursday, I think it was. The matter came up before Justice, Acting Chief Justice, Madam Roxanne George. And I remember I'm saying, the background is, before this matter, before now, the DPP would have just said, hey, write to the magistrate, I'm instructing you under section so, to open the matter and to commit. So they're going to arrest and commit. So in this matter now, before the judge, Justice George, they were asking for the judge to issue an order for Jordan to be arrested and to be committed to stand trial in the High Court for this matter. Now, let me read some of the things. I ain't going to read all, but let me read some of the things that transpired and what the Chief Justice said. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George has dismissed an attempt by the Director of Public Prosecution, Shalimar Ali Ak, to get the High Court to arrest former Minister Winston Jordan and commit him to stand trial in the High Court for a matter that had already been dismissed by the Magistrate Court. But I don't know if the matter was dismissed or discharged. We got to follow it up because I explained to you. I think, yeah, this might have been dismissed. I'm not sure. Now, but that is what the article is saying. Matter was dismissed by the magistrate. And then I give you a little story here. A few months ago, Jordan was freed of the charge which alleged that he misconducted himself in public office by signing a vesting order for the sale of a state property to BK Marines Limited. The transaction for that sale began in 2006. Remember who been in office in 2006? This transaction commenced in 2006 when the PPP was in office. Now, they go down to say, the magistrate in dismissing the charge then stated that there was insufficient evidence against the former minister. Last Wednesday, without informing Jordan or his attorneys, the DPP, through attorney Kim Kite Thomas, approached the acting Chief Justice seeking an arrest and committal of Jordan to stand trial in the High Court. In her judgment, the acting Chief Justice stated that while she may disagree with the magistrate's court not finding that Jordan is a public officer, there is insufficient evidence against him to support the charge being committed to the High Court for trial. Then she says, the Chief Justice is quoted there saying, there is nothing in the evidence to indicate that there was a clandestine sale of the property in issue, nor that the discharged person, that is Mr. Jordan, benefited in any way. Though it is recognized that misconduct in public office need not involve a benefit to the person charged, the focus of this offense is the willful neglect of breach of duty by a person who holds public office, such as to amount to an abuse of public trust in the office holder, in circumstances where the conduct must be without reasonable excuse or justification. That is part of the Chief Justice ruling. And then it goes on here. To buttress our ruling, the Chief Justice went back to minutes of the Cabinet meeting of September 17, 2019, and said those minutes reveal that it was Mr. Jordan, as Minister of Finance, who reminded Cabinet that a decision on the sale of the land in issue was outstanding. It is stated the Cabinet agreed to forward the matter for legal advice, given what reservations there were reservations by the Minister of Public Works. She also cited the minutes of the meeting of November 11, 2007, in which was deferred to allow for a determination of the legal evidence of ownership. Attorney at law for the DPP, Kim Kite Thomas, emphasized in our written submissions that the minutes were not signed and therefore they cannot be considered by the court. But the Chief Justice said she does not see that as being relevant, since there is no evidence that Mr. Jordan was responsible for the preparation and signing of the cabinet minutes. The Chief Justice noted the document on file from the Register of Deeds referring to an agreement of lease dated December 4, 2006 between NISIL and BK, which also referred to in the affidavit of purchase that led to transport being passed in the name of BK. An expert said, given that the transaction was more or less initiated since 2006, the Chief Justice surmised that there's no evidence to prove that Mr. Jordan willfully misconducted himself or acted recklessly when he signed the vesting order transferring the property to BK. She said, while payment was made of 20 million, the documentation proves that this is 10% of the purchase price, a deposit that is the norm in Guyana. Thus, having considered the application and the evidence provided as led before the magistrate, I have concluded that the evidence is not sufficient to allow for the order sought to be granted. And then the Chief Justice said, in effect, the charge in this case is based on an alleged breach of policies which have no statutory or regulatory basis. Thus, it is based on what can be best considered to be a shifting goalpost depending on the policy of the government of the day. The application is dismissed. That is what transpired. The application is dismissed. I must advise you, inform you, I did a brief thing of the law this morning. The amendment allows for the DPP to now appeal this matter to the Court of Appeal of Guyana. And I suspect that because of the persons involved, not the evidence and all of that, because it's a former minister and they are trying to make a point, this is going to go all the way to the CCJ. And remember, this is the same DPP who, in the face of all the evidence against Zaramlal, that he groomed, he raped, and he buggered a 16-year-old girl, said that there is no, that he should not be charged because according to the DPP, the VC, which is this 16-year-old, claimed that she does not want any further action in this matter. That is the same person. So they're pursuing and persecuting Jordan. And again, according to the thing, this matter came up without the knowledge of Jordan or his attorney. How more unprofessional you can get? What nowadays, there are no professional courtesies. You must know this will be on record who represented Mr. Jordan in the magistrate court. Where? What happened? You can't call them and tell them this matter is coming up. You can't do that. And then to make these foolish arguments. But the point here that this is an unprecedented case because, as I said, before this case, the DPP had the authority, the constitutional authority, to just instruct the magistrate to open the case and to commit this person to stand trial in the High Court. But following the intervention, following the ruling of the CCJ and the intervention of Parliament, this law was amended sometime last year. The Criminal Offences Procedure Act was amended, and it removed that authority from the DPP. And the DPP now, as she did on this case, go to a judge for the judge to review. And in this case, the Chief Justice review and say, hey, even though I agree, I may agree that the magistrate might have erred in determining who is a public officer, to say, when you look at the other evidence, because all the evidence had to be presented to the judge. So when we look at this evidence, there's no evidence that Mr. Jordan committed this alleged offense, so it ain't going to pay. But I bet you, they are going to appeal the matter. Because again, it's not their money. It's not their money. They're going to appeal taxpayers' money. It's going to appeal. Mr. Conway, I had a long talk on this matter. Let me bring you in.
You were quite clear, Paul. And if you look at the Constitution, Article 144, It says, 144.2, it shall be the duty of a court to ascertain the truth of every case, providing that every person who is charged with a criminal offense, A, shall be presumed to be innocent until he or she is proven or has pleaded guilty, and B, shall be informed as soon as reasonable practicable in the language that he or she understands and in detail of the nature of the offense charge. So I don't know how they could try and get a backdoor entry and go in appeal and not informing Jordan. But then, as I said earlier, that the cases that Suku prosecuted don't go anywhere. They finish at no case submission. And this was the case with Jordan. It finished at no case submission. I think the only one why didn't finish a no case submission is when they charged Nandalan for thieving law books. The magistrate overruled the no case submission and he went to the High Court and they threw out his application. And Suku is an oppressive arm of the state, and they're targeting persons, especially members of the opposition, member of parliament and others, members of the opposition. It happened when APNU was in power, and it happened more so with its present government. And for me, I say this: PPPC is police, is politics, is persecution and corruption. When the court ruled that Jennifer Westford was not a public officer, it was good. Now the court ruled that Jordan is not a public officer. They're challenging that. What's good for one is not good for the other. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. So did they get double standards? And I'm agree with the Chief Justice that they don't have any real case there. But as you said, Paul, is going to go all the way to the CCJ.
Yeah, well, one of the things when you look at the decision in the teachers' union strike with Justice Kitsoon, and now you have this with the CJ. I know sometimes some people are not pleased with some of the decisions given, but I would normally say, you got to read the matter. I mean, I have this decision rendered by the Chief Justice, and I'm going to go through it in detail to inform myself. I am no liar, but I like to know that when I speak from a position of authority. So I'll read it and see what is going on. I will read it because, as I've said, this is an unprecedented case. It's an history-making case because it's the first time since the amendment of this law, as far as I know, it's the first time since the amendment of this, the criminal law offenses procedure, that the DPP now has to go before a magistrate if he wants a person who has been freed at the lower court at the preliminary inquiry to be committed to stand trial and thing. But some people get carried away. Some people call me and they think say they are seeking an order to arrest and commit. Well, some people believe that they were talking about arrest and committing him to the prison, but that is not what it is or was. That is a letter, I read the law, that you seek to have the person arrested and committed to stand trial in the High Court. That is what they sought. That is the order the DPP sought, to have Mr. Winston Jordan arrested and committed. The court should have ordered him to be committed to stand trial in the High Court. Not committed to prison, committed to stand trial in the High Court. So let's understand, because at a preliminary inquiry, once the inquiry is conducted by the magistrate and the magistrate finds that there is prima facie evidence, then the magistrate commits you to stand trial at the earliest and most convenient session of the assizes, the High Court. So let's understand. So don't get run away with these things. The order, this is what the law says, that the magistrate in a preliminary inquiry can, if there's prima facie evidence that a case has been made out against the accused person, then she is going to have them committed to stand trial at the High Court. And once that is done, all the papers, the same papers that would have been sent to the judge in this case, in Mr. Jordan's case, are sent to the DPP for review, and then the DPP indicts the person. Right? The DPP look at the evidence adduced during the preliminary inquiry and indicts the person for whatever charge is disclosed in the matter. So in many cases, a person, let's say a person is charged with murder, and during the course of the preliminary inquiry, that person, or after the preliminary inquiry, that person is committed to stand trial at the earliest session of the High Court. The DPP, having reviewed the evidence, depositions, and all of that took place at the court, might decide to indict for manslaughter only. It happens. It happens. So we got to understand how the system works. So once the documents, all these papers are sent to the DPP, then what happens is that the DPP, having perused the documents, I don't know if they're doing it now, because based on some of the remarks made by some of the attorneys in recent times, it would appear that when a file is sent to the DPP or the people in the DPP office don't peruse these things in the manner they should. Recall Mr. Dexter Todd making the comment that he can't understand how people with legal training would have perused the file where we were charged with conspiracy to commit fraud and until recommend that a charge be instituted. There was absolutely no evidence. So I say that to say that even though the file may go there, you don't know what type of scrutiny these files and these documents are received before charges recommended, or in the case of a PI, before a committal, or before an indictment is issued. So that is what I want to say in the matter. I don't know if Mr. Conway has anything else to say. Let me invite him. Anything else to say on that, CC?
No, I don't want to add anything. I think we have said enough on it. For the time being.
We might come back next week when we read it. We listen more. Now, let me say this, and this is the final matter. Almo Lord, quickly. The cocaine story ain't done in, I can't tell the people, I can't use Guyanese roadman language. It ain't done in. For those people who know the road, don't know the road talk, it seems not to be coming to an end. There's no end to it all. Because over the weekend, two men Kanu with large amount of cocaine. They said Kanu officers arrested two men at the Chedijagan International Airport after they were observed receiving two large bags, I think they said duffel bags, with cocaine intended to be placed on a BA flight that travels from Guyana to London via St. Lucia. Two men. And what do you think say quickly? This is Article 24th, Saturday. Kanu on Thursday held two men at the Chedijagan International Airport to Mary with a large amount of cocaine, which was intended to be loaded on a BA flight. One of the men was employed with a ground handling service, and the other worked with a security contractor for airlines. This is a ground handling service, according to them, and the other one worked with a security company. The Customs and Narcotics yesterday said that its officers attached to the Chedijagan International Airport, while performing duties at the baggage shed area, intercepted two males who were observed retrieving 4 duffel bags over the CGIA, this is Chedijagan International Airport fence, from an unknown male. A search of the duffel bag led to the discovery of 64 brick-like parcels suspected to be cocaine. And then they got the name of the two persons here, and they said ground security coordinator attached to this. Both of Timiri, along with the suspected cocaine, were escorted to Kanu headquarters, where the suspected cocaine tested positive for cocaine and weighed 71.2 kilograms with an estimated street value of 64 million Guyana dollars. Kanu said that the narcotics was intended to be loaded on a British Airways flight bound for St. Lucia with onward connection to the United Kingdom. If the narcotic had reached the intended destination, the estimated street value would have been 3 million pounds, which is equivalent to 679 million. First it says 64, but now they're saying 3 million pounds, which is equivalent to 679 million Guyana dollars. And you know, let me tell you before I bring in Mr. Conway, that was over the last weekend, and it was in sometime recently, if you recall, the other case where cocaine turned up in some place, Canada or somewhere there, on a Caribbean Airline flight, in bags, without bag tags, and all of that. So something is going on. If you check, go and do a Google search, cocaine found at Czech International Airport, you're going to see how many incidents you have had. And we know that many, according to the records, some pass through and are held elsewhere. Some pass through and are held elsewhere. So cocaine country. Cocaine country. And you know, whether they want to admit it or not, Guyana has been said to be a major drug shipment, drug in transit point for drugs, cocaine in particular, going to North America and Europe. Guyana, I don't think up to now, according to the record, Guyana don't produce cocaine. So it comes out of the Colombia and perhaps other places, but it passes through Guyana, porous borders and corrupt officials. So it passes through. And Mr. Conway, your closing remarks, please.
You mentioned it, Paul. It's aware that Guyana is a major drug shipment point. From here, cocaine end up elsewhere. We had, I think about 2 years ago, where the largest shipment of cocaine ever had passed through, originated from Guyana. Nothing. I think some persons were charged overseas, but nothing in Guyana. And we getting plenty seizures. And even the thing with this oil spill off of the foreshore of Trinidad and Tobago and cocaine turning up, all with Guyanese connection, you know. So it's a very serious situation with the cocaine. Somebody got allowing the cocaine to pass. Big business. And then I haven't heard anything else about that detective corporal from New Amsterdam who was charged with a sexual offense. Has not been interdicted as yet. Still there, still working, and all the extended squad has got to do, just prepare the man, sign the man's document, and let him be interdicted, just as how we did with the ROOP. Although it took a long time, and it wasn't him, it was the Police Service Commission. It took a long time for them to do it, but so a lot of double standards going about the place, you know. But the cocaine has got to pass, Paul. The cocaine has got to pass in various means, cocaine in all kind of thing, cocaine in Kazip, cocaine in all kind of thing, just name it. And Guyana is a major transshipment point with cocaine and big ones involved. I can't call name, but very big ones involved.
Thank you, my brother. I guess we have had, based on the comments, we had a very nice interactive session. Before I go, let me play this ad for the teachers, the Public Service Union, and then I'm going to put back the information relating to the Teachers Union banking information. But here we go.
The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union will be hosting a special general meeting and elections on Saturday, March 2, 2024. The meeting and elections will be held both virtually and in person in the various regions. Members in Region 4 will be allowed to vote at the Critchlow Labor College, Wilford Avenue. The meeting will be held from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Members are asked to be on the lookout for information regarding online voting and regional polling places. Full participation of members is encouraged. Let us move your credit union forward.
Yes, all those who are members, you know, people who are members, let them participate. That is what the democracy or democratic process should all be about. Let them participate. Let me put up back this information in relation to the Guyana Teachers Union. For those of you who want to assist in a tangible way, it is there. I'm going to continue to show it on future programs, so that you can make a contribution. What you gotta do is take a screenshot, take out your camera, take a photograph of it, so that you can get the information and you can make. Well, I'm sure they would appreciate any amount that you can provide. Those of you in Guyana should join the picket line. Join the picket line. Again, I say the Albion workers, the cane harvesters are on strike from this morning for more money. And let's see how the government is going to handle that, bearing in mind that the union that represents the sugar workers is the Guyana Agriculture Workers Union, which is closely aligned to the government, the PPP. And I'm sure they're not going to say that strike is political. They're not going to say that strike is unlawful or that the strike is political. They're not going to call out people. There's a tape I tried to get y'all to show y'all at some future time. I find it so humorous that I want to share it with you, where a certain man called people, we call him fossil. And the man say, yeah, me's a fossil, but you's a thief. I say, yes, me's a fossil, but you's a thief. That is what the man said. I wanted to get it to show it to y'all. Perhaps Wednesday we'll be able to do so. So, folks, wow, we spent an hour and 3/4 already. Time flies when you're enjoying yourself. Time flies. I want to implore you to continue to be safe. Continue to be safe. The roads in Guyana are dangerous. We haven't spoken about the road accidents and incidents in recent times, but that doesn't mean that we have not been monitoring it. We'll bring it to you at some subsequent time. Continue to be safe. Continue to be safe. Continue to look after yourselves and your loved ones. And I want to leave with you again by saying, when I leave, to say, God's willing. Everything is in the hands of the Almighty. Wednesday, which is the day after tomorrow, we're going to be here again to bring you another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Next Wednesday. Again, I want you to go, those of you who have not done so, go to the Facebook page and like the page. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel. It's by the same name, Speaking Out. Once you Google it, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, you're going to see this pretty face, these two pretty faces coming up. You just have to hit the subscribe button. And if you're on Facebook, you like it. I know some of you are going to vex because I talk about the pretty face and so on, but you got to big up yourself. If you don't big up yourself, who going to big you up? So go and do that. That is all you are required to do. We are going to do the research. We are going to bring you the credible, valid information. All we ask you to do is to subscribe to the channel on YouTube and to like the page on Facebook. I'm sure that is not asking too much for all the information that we bring to you. Many people continue to comment how informative and educational they find this program. Don't be selfish. Share it with others. Share. And I must compliment some of you because almost every place I go, people see me and they say how they follow the program. And one place, I was at a place yesterday and I spoke. And from the time I spoke, I've been gaffed with some friends. The people recognize my voice. A lady said, "You are Paul Slow." I said, "Yes." So I recognize your voice, so I'm speaking out. Continue to speak out. And we will continue to speak out, folks. We will continue. We have to call out these acts of incompetence. And when we do so, we are doing so with the expectation or perhaps with the hope that people are going to be ashamed and try to correct themselves. I reference again the matter with the commander. Man complain about the commander. Man complain to the minister and the extended squadron commander. And the extended squadron send the letter, send the complaint to the very commander for necessary action. In other words, he must investigate it. And that is the type of incompetence we have to point out. That is the type of incompetence. So, folks, see you Wednesday, God's Prayer Life. We're going to be here again for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, bye. Have a good time.